if this wasn't a bare tire ice racing, he would have never fallen down. If you missed it, round 2 of the Australian Supercross Championship Best Lines is next. The track layout wasn't incredibly technical. However, the conditions made it as it was one of the most technical tracks of the year around the world. World Supercross, Supercross in general. We'll start off with Anstey hitting a dragon back, and he's going to wheel tap double. Nice, perfectly executed wheel tap. So you'll notice that he'll go double. Then as he's coming off this next triple lip, he's going to lift the front wheel high, and then he's going to blip off the top of it. And he was able to do that consistently every lap, but he was very straight up and down. He wasn't sideways when he was doing it. Dino, the eventual winner, he ends up using every inch of the track. Watch as he drifts to the outside, and he ends up almost going off the track by just riding the edge of what should be a checkup jump. So notice as he's coming in here, there's a nice little overlap of where the dirt starts falling off, and he's just gonna stay a little bit lower by using the entire track. This is something that you should try to do at your local track or whenever you're racing. As long as there's not a tough block there, make sure if you're trying to stay a little bit lower and you can't scrub, just go off the lip that's smaller. This video is brought to you by Energy Fuel. Now it's the off season. It's the perfect time to start getting in shape. And in order to get in shape, you need to have proper recovery and hydration. I personally like Energy Fuel, just the plain standard. It is for moderate to high intensity. It's got the perfect number of calories with a lactic acid buffer in it. If you want a little bit more of a boost with the caffeine, you can go with Energy Fuel Boost. This stuff is excellent. My favorite flavor is watermelon. Pink lemonade is right up there as well. Make sure you go to CoachRobStore.com. Back to the technicality of the track. Watch both these riders, Clout and Brayton, as they're sliding out of this corner. I do want to emphasize on Brayton's body positioning as that bike is sliding underneath him. He's going to weight the outside peg, put a lot of pressure on that outside shroud, and keep his elbow up to keep that bike straight up and down underneath him. Do you see what he did? So he's counteracting. So as that bike is slipping, he's going to weight the outside peg and he's going to lean over. He's just doing a nice little drift to keep that bike straight up and down. Beautiful flat track is what I like to call it. We even saw riders, like this is Anstey's bikes, how they're taking a soft terrain tire, so it's going to be better in hard pack, and they even cut it even further to make these tires essentially useless after they do a few laps on the track, or at least the moto, but they're getting every little bit that they can of bite and traction by cutting up the tires. If you've got the resources in order to do something like this, and the track is super hard pack and slippery, like the end of the day, it gets real dry, hard pack, blue groove, something you can do is you can start cutting the middle of the knobbies just for that little bit extra bite. So continuing with the theme of how slippery it was, have you ever been on the ice, at least this is the analogy, and your buddy bumps into you and you bust your ass? Well, this is how slippery this track was. Clout unintentionally bumped into Brayton, just kind of covering the line, and it instantly took out Brayton. So watch this. Boom. It just instantly takes him on the ground, which if they had more traction, that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, they did come together fairly quick, but if this wasn't a bare tire ice racing, he would have never fallen down. Just look at how all these guys are just skidding into the first turn like, whoa. Oh, again, that track was so slippery to the point where these riders weren't really scrubbing off the lips of jumps. Watch Brayton as he comes through this dragon back, and he does kind of like a vet rider scrub. It's what we want to do is just kind of put your butt together. You're not really throwing the motorcycle down. Yes, he's still doing it better than 99% of the population. However, it is not a typical scrub that we see in typical Supercross racing where these guys are just whipping off the lip, letting that bike just completely slide off the side. But look at how slippery it is. These riders really had to use a lot of throttle control to make sure that they didn't put their themselves on the ground. Anstey even said that he was going through the whoops in 5th gear to try to stay on top of them to keep those RPMs low so that it's not spinning and slipping, and yet it still made it sketchy to go through the whoops. Watch that again. But again, watch or note how he is standing up around the whole corner and then sits down and hits these suckers straight from the outside. Quick reminder, if you've made it this far into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification icon. Just past 45,100 subscribers. Couldn't have done it without you. I know a lot of you guys are continuing to do this and support this channel. I appreciate you two-wheel SOBs. Just all around, just decent people. So here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about brake tap. Watch Anstey as he comes across the finish line and notice how he's just going to use his body weight to push the bike down. Just lean forward and just watch his hips, watch his arms, watch how he is leaning forward and just pushes that motorcycle down. Look at how far ahead his head is, right around the front number plate. And he's just going to lean back and straighten his arms and push that bike down. It is just, it's poetry in motion is what it is. Watch, no brake tap required. And it's quick. Because anytime these gyros, which are the rear wheels, they stop, they're going to slow you down. They're going to slow your forward momentum down. And here, we'll watch Wilson as he comes across right after the fact. There's a triple, step on, step off, which ended up being the fast line. So we'll watch him go through the fast line. Nice seat bounce where he's curling the hips to get that pop. But what he is also doing is he's going to hit that rear brake. So watch. Leans back, curls those hips, boom. Brake taps because that front wheel is so high from him doing the seat bounce, which he's doing a seat bounce good. A lot of riders that do seat bounces, or at least the biggest mistake I see from seat bounces, is riders will roll their hips back and then they will try to lean forward while they're standing up, where they've got their helmet above the front end of the bike, just like here. But that is not what you're going to do as far as body position goes when you do a seat bounce. You're going to stand straight back up. So notice how his head is behind his handlebars, but it's keeping that front wheel high. So it's not going to give him that endo effect, which is beautifully executed. So how is he going to counteract that? Well, he's going to pull in the clutch, grab that rear brake, bring that front wheel down, which is very smooth. Something he had to do here. However, it's slower because he's locking up that rear wheel as far as the gyro goes. Here, watch it again. And notice that his head does not cross that handlebar. Here, we'll watch Anstey again too so you can see the difference. Two different techniques. One is faster. One is something that you really should only do when you're forced to. It looks cool, but I beg to differ. I almost think that the first one with Anstey is the better of the two options when you can. Just as far as if you can preload standing up, you're not going to get as high of a bounce, but you're going to go faster as far as lap times go because you're not popping up in the air as high. This is Johnny Hopper. Till next time, keep it WFO. Bra da da da.